Welcome to part 14 in our study in the book of Revelation, where we begin with chapter 13 and the Antichrist, which, it's really not the most appropriate term, but it's what everyone thinks of, so you kind of go with it. But there are two of them. One is the beast out of the sea, and another one is the beast out of the earth. There are two beasts. And that's what we're going to look at here. Chapter 13 begins the second part of verse 1. It says, "And I saw a beast coming out of the sea. He had 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 crowns on his horns, and on each head a blasphemous name." This is a political guy. Comes out of the sea. Comes out of the nations. Remember I said previously that the sea often refers to the Gentiles, and the land often refers to Israel. And really, there are all the nations on earth, excluding Israel. And then there is the chosen nation of Yahweh, which is Israel. So this political beast comes out of the sea, comes out of the nations. We can also look at Daniel chapter 7. Where are we? And beginning, we want to look at verse 8, and then we want to look at verses 19 through 25. Daniel chapter 7, verse 8, it says, "While I was thinking about the horns, there before me was another horn, a little one, which came up among them. And 3 of the first horns were uprooted before it. This horn had eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth that spoke boastfully." This is the Antichrist, the 11th horn, the world leader. Now a little note here concerning verse 8. It said 3 of the first horns were uprooted. In the original language there means gradually. And Perry Stone, I admire Perry's teachings, he says that that chapter 11 reveals that the 3 which will get uprooted will be Egypt, Libya, and Ethiopia. And I figure he's probably right, because Perry does a good job in studying. Now we want to look at, skip over to verse 19 in Daniel chapter 7. It says, "Then I wanted to know the true meaning of the 4th beast, which was different from all the others, and most terrifying, with its iron teeth and bronze claws, the beast that crushed and devoured its victims and trampled underfoot whatever was left. I also wanted to know about the 10 horns on its head, and about the other horn that came up, the little horn, before which 3 of them fell, the horn that looked more imposing than the others, and that had eyes and a mouth that spoke boastfully. As I watched, this horn was waging war against the saints and defeating them, until the Ancient of Days," that's Yahweh, "came and pronounced judgment in favor of the saints of the Most High, and the time came when they possessed the kingdom." And by the way, it says he was making war against the saints and defeating them. Yeshua said, "The gates of hell will not prevail against my church, my called out ones." And we see in Revelation here in Daniel 2 that the saints are being prevailed over and defeated. So there's a difference between saints and church. A difference between believers and called out ones. verse 23 in Daniel, he says, he gave me this explanation. The fourth beast is a fourth kingdom that will appear on earth. It will be different from all the other kingdoms and will devour the whole earth, trampling it down and crushing it. The 10 horns are 10 kings who will come from this kingdom. After them another king will arise, different from the earlier ones. He will subdue 3 kings. He will speak against the Most High, Yahweh, and oppress his saints, his believers, and try to change the set times and the laws. The saints, believers, will be handed over to him for a time, times, and half a time. That's 3.5 years during the Great Tribulation. That's this political beast. There's a lot there. I know we could do a whole study on Daniel and those things, but let's keep moving along for now. It would be a huge undertaking to sidetrack over to the stuff that we touched on over there in Daniel. Back to Revelation 13. Verse 2, the beast I saw resembled a leopard, but had feet like those of a bear, and mouth like that of a lion. Again, we could get sidetracked here. Daniel goes into these descriptions in equally great ways, and we won't go there for now. It's a whole other study. The dragon gave the beast his power. So this guy is empowered by Satan himself. Satan gave the beast his power and his throne and great authority. One of the heads of the beast seemed to have had a fatal wound, but the fatal wound had been healed. The whole world was astonished and followed the beast. Men worshipped the dragon, Satan, because he had given authority to the beast, and they also worshipped the beast and asked, who is like the beast? Who can make war against him? I have another video about the Antichrist that covers his description, perhaps in greater detail. But his right eye is wounded. His arm, we don't know whether it's a right or left arm, is withered. I'm not sure what that means. And he's got a loud mouth. He's boastful. Look at Zechariah chapter 11, verse 17. Daniel 8:23 says that he understands dark riddles and hidden things. And Daniel 8:25 says that he causes deceit to prosper. He succeeds through lies. And he destroys those who are prospering or who are prosperous. Daniel 9:27 says that he confirms or strengthens a 7-year peace treaty with many. I expect to be in the harpazo, so I don't expect to be around when this guy is revealed. But, you see quite a description there. Like I said, look at my video about the Antichrist, and I go into greater detail. But, when this guy is revealed, you'll know who he is. And you'll be able to give a greater description than I can. If you're here. I hope you're not. Back to, where are we here? Verse 5. The beast was given a mouth to utter proud words and blasphemies, and to exercise his authority for 42 months. It's It's 3.5 years again. He opened his mouth to blaspheme Yahweh and to slander his name and his dwelling place and those who live in heaven. He was given power to make war against the saints and to conquer them. Again, the church is not here. We don't see the word church anymore. The called out ones are not on the earth. They're in heaven. Those who live in heaven, we just read that. Look at Matthew chapter 16, verse 18. Yeshua says, the gates of hell will not prevail against my church, against the called out ones. And here we see, verse 7, he was given power to make war against the saints, believers, and to conquer them. So there's a difference between the church and the saints, between the called out ones and believers. And he was given authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation. He's ruling the whole world. He has authority over the entire planet. All inhabitants of the earth will worship the beast, all whose names have not been written in the book of life, belonging to the Lamb that was slain from the creation of the world. Earth dwellers, the inhabitants of the earth, these are those who, they love the world, they don't love Yahweh. Their names are not in the book of life, and they will be worshiping this beast. He who has an ear, let him hear. If anyone goes into captivity he'll go. If anyone is to be killed with the sword, that's the mechaira, short, close hand-to-hand combat, short quotations of Yahweh's word. If anyone's to be killed with the sword he'll be killed. This calls for patient endurance and faithfulness on the part of the saints, of the believers. Now that's the beast, comes out of the sea. That's a political guy. And he's going to wind up having authority over every nation on earth. Now, verse 11, we look at the beast who comes up out of the earth. This is a religious guy. Now, the earth, this word usually refers to Israel. So, he comes up out of Israel. I'm not sure, but that's usually the way it goes. Verse 11, then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth. He had 2 horns like a lamb, but he spoke like a dragon. He looks like the Messiah. And of course, he couldn't look like the Messiah unless he was Jewish, unless he came up out of Israel. Verse 12, he exercised all the authority of the first beast on his behalf and made the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast, the political guy, whose fatal wound had been healed. And he performed great and miraculous signs, even causing fire to come down from heaven to earth in full view of men. Just like, chapter 11, verse 5, Satan always imitates Yahweh. Maybe he's claiming to be Elijah, announcing the first beast as the Messiah. Verse 14, because of the signs he was given power to do on behalf of the first beast, he deceived the inhabitants of the earth. He deceived the earth dwellers, those who worship the world, those who worship the first beast. those who worship Satan. Because of the signs he was given power to do on behalf of the first beast, he deceived the inhabitants of the earth. Everybody's impressed with these, false magic things, he pulls off. He ordered them to set up an image in honor of the beast who was wounded by the sword and yet lived. And he was given power to give breath to the image of the first beast, the image, so that it could speak and cause all who refused to worship the image to be killed. You could interpret that as being state-enforced religion. If anybody refuses to worship the image of the political guy, they'll be put to death. And he also forced everyone, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on his right hand or on his forehead, so that no one could buy or sell unless he had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of his name. This calls for wisdom. If anyone has insight, let him calculate the number of the beast, for it is a certain man's number. His number is 666. It is a certain man's number, totaling 666. The mark is the name of the beast or the number of this beast's name, a certain man. There's different forms here. It's the name of the beast or the number of his name. It could be either one. We're going to stop there, and next week we'll go into chapter 14 and our first look at the 144,000. Shalom.